lot better than Thursday night. Well, workmanlike performance. You know, it was definitely a collected effort, and saw 4 guys getting to double figures, and 16 assists, 5 turnovers, really took care of the ball. And it wasn't necessarily a perfect performance, but they do a lot of things offensively that just stress you, and they can really stretch you. They got shooters out there. They've got a guy that's a former SEC point guard that's just a paint machine. And then they send Sharkey in there that's a paint machine. And, it's really hard to keep him out of the paint. And, we had to do some different things and change some things up. But I felt like in pivotal moments our guys did a good job responding. And, I thought the key to the game was they cut it to 3 and they called a timeout. And I thought our huddle was very calm. It was very steady. It was, there was no panic. And we ripped off 5 straight points right there and got the game back to 8 and basically kept it there and was able to deal with their pressure late and, continued not to turn the ball over and got to the free throw line. And for the most part, yeah, everybody should be happy. 17 for 20 tonight. So shouldn't get any free throw questions. But other than that, it was a good day.
Speaking of what you're talking about during the huddle, being calm and everything, is that just that veteran presence that you have? You have so many guys, even with Devin out.
I think it's the veteran presence, but I also think it's just the type of people we have and the character that we have. You got a guy like Matt Rafferty. I mean, if you've dealt with him, if you've been around him, I mean, he's pretty calm in personality. You got a guy like Andrew Brown. He's pretty calm. Daniel Fowler. Those guys are just steady. And what you get with that is a lot of times you might not get the high-end energy that sometimes you would like to have out of them, right? Like even when you're making runs, they still kind of have that same composure. But what you don't have to deal with is you don't have to deal with the valleys that come with it. And I think when you get in close games and really any game, a lot of times just being steady for 40 minutes, a lot of times that wins out.
That's been something that's learned over the last couple of years of winning, has it not? I mean,
absolutely.
3 to 8 consistently, and there's never.
Yeah, just stay with it, and I think as leaders, as a staff, I think we have to do a good job of that. We can't be over there, asking them to stay calm and, be on the sideline freaking out with our heads down and assistants hitting stuff. And I think I did hit the table one time today, but for the most part, it was twice. All right. It was twice. But it's yeah, that's right. The missed dunk. Yeah, not that you're counting. But I think everybody has to stay calm. And I think, anytime you're in a battle, right, anytime you're in a game, anytime you're competing, in order to be able to think and in order to be able to execute, you got to be steady. And that's something that we try to talk about in practice, and we try to play like that and, just keep doing what we do. And, we made some pivotal shots. It was nice to see Jeff hit that big shot. He hit a huge 3. And, the play of Alex Hunter was just tremendous. I mean, Alex Hunter's performance to be able to do that, and what people are going to talk about is the 9 points, didn't miss a shot, hit the 2 free throws late. We were trying to figure out how to keep Coleman out of the paint, and we kept turning guards over and changing the matchup, and we put Alex on him, and all of a sudden it calmed down. It wasn't perfect, but for a true freshman to go out there and have to deal with a Alabama transfer and to keep him out of the paint for a freshman, that's commendable. And I was pleased with his poise today, and I was pleased I thought he played with a sense of freedom, and I thought he went out there and he just played hard and had a couple nice cuts. He hit the open 3, knocked down 2 huge free throws. It was just he played like a champ today.
There was a point earlier in the second half where Coleman would either shoot it and it went in, or he passed it and that guy would shoot it and go in. About 14-minute mark, that kind of stopped for about the next 10 minutes. That Alex Hunter's kind of.
Yeah, we changed the matchup. And, we were having to commit 2 people to him for too long. And he's so good in pick and roll situations, and he reads it, and he keeps his eyes in the play so well. And especially for a smaller guard, I mean, he just makes the reads, and he can see where the help's coming from. And so the longer you keep 2 on him, the higher your chance of getting burned is going to be. And you got to commit 2 to him for a little while just so he can't turn the edge. But when Alex got in there, we didn't have to commit as long. And I thought that was a huge key for us to be able to just not have to get stretched out so much to where he's basically 3-on-4 and he's just making the read where's the open man. And once we settled there, that was a huge key down the stretch.
In that same kind of vein, talk about the defense on Denzel Dyson. Obviously, their leading scorer.
Yeah, I don't know what his stat line was, but Denzel hurt us in the tournament, made some big shots in the tournament. He's got great size. He got great length. He's a really, really good shooter. And, we just tried to do our best job we could on him. And, again, that's where it creates the issues. Their four can shoot it. Denzel can shoot it. Chambers can shoot it. And then you got a guy running a pick and roll up there. And it's really it's about precision, and it's about playing assignment basketball in the defensive end and knowing sometimes you can be too aggressive, and you can't overhelp, and you got to be where you're supposed to be when the ball's moving, and you got to see what the ball wants, and you got to see where the ball's trying to go. And we just tried to do a good job of helping on the rolls when we could, but then trying to eye when they were really trying to find him and be there on the catch and limit him from shooting the three.
About 90 seconds in, Andrew picked up his second foul. Devin out. Did that change anything about your strategy for the game, or is it like you were saying earlier, just kind of stay calm?
No, it really didn't. I'll be honest with you. I think y'all will come back and get me on this if I ever get burned on it. I think the second foul in the first half might be the most overrated deal in basketball. And I think that, let's take Andrew for example. Now, I think he did finish 3 fouls, right? And so what you do is you overreact, and then you sit him, and then he sits over there till halftime, and he goes and plays 20 minutes, and he gets one more foul, and he's got 2 that he takes to the house with him, and you sat him for 16 minutes. And so it's just our personal philosophy. We play through that most of the time. We'll take him out, but we'll usually let him play till a third foul in that second half, and that's just a philosophical decision. But we went back with him, and he hit some shots. He was 3 for 6 today, hit all his free throws, had 15 points, didn't turn it over, had a heck of a day. And I think if you take him out right there and you leave him out, let's say for 10 minutes, you can say, well, you got to be mentally tough and all that, all those cliches that we use. That's hard. That's just hard. It's hard to, now you're cold, you've been sitting over there forever. And so we usually play through that second one. And I can't remember the game recently at Chattanooga. We had Devin and Daniel with 2 in the first half. And, we were selective, but we kept playing them. And a lot of times that's tough, especially on the perimeter. Your bigs, it's a little bit different deal, but especially on the perimeter.
Then he came back, he had back-to-back threes and had an assist on the next possession. So it just, like you said, not phased.
Serious, tough-minded players help you. That's just the facts. Like, serious, tough-minded players that really take competing with some pride, they have the guts to be able to do that. And I told him when he came out, I said, rotation's not changing, stay ready, be ready. And he did. And he came in there, and Andrew had a phenomenal game, and no surprise, though. If you're around and Andrew Brown, just no surprise.
Just one more back to Alex. Did he give you it seems like you have some confidence in him today. Does that give you another weapon off the bench to lead the last 11 conference games?
Yeah, I think that's the thing where when you get your program where your program is supposed to be, you're going to have good players, right? And when you have good players, they don't give you any more minutes. They still just give you 200. And so what happens is you're put in a situation where some guys don't play because maybe it's somebody else is doing something. It's not so much about what the other player's not doing. Alex Hunter hadn't done anything wrong. The guy has taken care of the ball. He shot the ball well all year. He plays really, really hard. It's just you got John Davis, you got Devin Sibley, you got Daniel Fowler. Those guys are going to play for the most part as long as they're guarding and they're taking good shots and they're moving the ball. They're going to play as much as they want, for the most part. And it makes minutes tight. And what's happened is we've had Jordan Lyons emerge since conference play started. And so his minutes go from, 10 or 11 to 18, 19, 20. And that's got to come from somewhere. And so, Alex hadn't done anything. Alex is still, he's in here all the time. The guy he's in the gym all the time. He's in the office all the time. He works. It's really supply and demand. And, you got to manage minutes, and it's really, really hard. But that's why we missed Devin today. I love Devin. Devin's an unbelievable player. But I was excited about the possibility of seeing some guys in some extended roles that were ready to step up, and I thought they did today.
One more thing about, so much of your offense all season You had no fast break points today against Samford of all teams. You had 78 points and 11-point win. What can you take from that?
Yeah, we'll have to talk to the statistician about that. We did have some fast break points, but we have a delayed break as well. That we've been playing a little bit too fast lately in some ways on missed break, and the ball has been coming up the floor so fast that we haven't been able to stretch the court with our shooters quick enough. Happened a lot in the Wofford game, the 2 turnovers, right there in the middle of the floor, just leaving our feet. So we've intentionally tried to slow the break down a little bit to let the court get stretched and then be able to attack. And, so I think when we grade the film, there's going to be what we would call transition points. It's just not, I don't know if we had any necessarily just steals to some layups. Should have had 2, but we won't talk about that on the missed dunk. But it's one of those things where in the flow of the game, we definitely got out, and when we pushed the lead up in the first half, a lot of that was on missed break, and I thought we did a good job on that. But they didn't press much today until the end. They started out man to man. So again, it comes down to, as we always say, it's about us. And you can't get tricked up and trying to over prepare for 5, 6 different things. You just got to go out there and you got to play to your strengths and to play to your identity.